Straykids imagines when you shyly ask your husband for the kiss. Seungmin. The living room was quiet except for the faint sound of rain tapping against the windows. Seungmin sat on the floor with his guitar sleeves rolled up, humming a. He strummed a few chords, then sighed. Something's missing. The lyrics, Yen guessed. He shook his head. No, the feeling. What kind of feeling? Her eyes flicked open, a small smile tugged at her lips. That's cheesy. Yeah, he admitted, smirking without looking at her. But you smile. He chuckled, setting the guitar aside and stretching his arms. The air between them shifted, quieter, heavier, in the unspoken way where both wanted. He froze mid-stretch, blinking once, then twice, before turning to her with the smallest, most mischievous smirk. You're asking like it's a business. He laughed softly, sliding closer until he was sitting right in front of her. Hey, he said gently, pulling her hand away from her face. You don't need to ask like. It was focused, powerful expression of forever, a kiss that spoke volumes in its simplicity and steadiness. Yen glared, trying not to smile. You are impossible, he shrugged, smirking. Maybe, but you still ask for it. Han. Han was sprawled in the studio chair, spinning slowly while eating chips like it was full-time job. The beat he'd been working on played. Yen sat cross-legged on the couch behind him, scrolling through her phone. You've been on that same beat for 2 hours, she said. He pointed dramatically. You're just procrastinating, she laughed. Exactly, he grinned proudly, munching another chip. Procrastination is part of the process. Honey, she said quietly. He stopped spinning, leaning back in his chair to look at her. Her voice dropped a little. Can I get a. She nodded, eyes flicking away. Yeah, it just felt like that. He grinned, teasing instantly. What's this? Yen asking me for affection? Mark the calendar. This is. She hesitated, crossing her arms. You're gonna tease me again. I swear I won't, he said, voice soft this time. Promise. She finally stepped closer. When they finally pulled away, he was grinning like an idiot. Okay, I admit that might be my new favorite part of the creative process. She smirked. You talk to me. Lino. The TV flickered quietly in the background while Minho lounged on the couch, his cat curled up beside him. Yen sat next to him, scrolling on her phone. After a moment, she sighed and said softly, Minho, he hummed without looking away from the screen. Her fingers fidgeted in her lap. Minho finally turned his head, one brow raised, a sly smile playing at his lips. You're asking, since when do you ask for things like that? Minho, she muttered, eyes darting away. Say it, he whispered, now leaning closer. She sighed, cheeks warm. Can I have a. He grinned, clearly. When she finally caught her breath, Minho laughed quietly, brushing his thumb across her bottom lip. See, that wasn't so hard. He stopped, she murmured. He leaned back against the couch, smirk still in place, and added in a low voice, next time you won't even have to ask, I'll know. Changbin. The studio was filled with the familiar thump of bass and soft glow of computer screens. Changbin was lost in his work, bobbing his head as he find. She waited for a pause, then spoke gently. Weenie, he turned his chair halfway. Yeah, baby, her heart skipped a beat at the nickname. Can I have a. He blinked, surprised, then smirked. Now, while I'm working, you're gonna mess up my flow. She rolled her eyes. Your flow can survive one small kiss. She smiled shyly. So is that a no? He leaned forward, his playful grin turning softer. Oh, it's a yes. When he finally pulled back, he tapped her nose slightly. Now, every time I work on a track, I'm gonna need that for motivation. Ian chuckled, guess I'll have. He turned his chair again, smirking over his shoulder. Good, because you're officially my new muse. And next time, don't wait, Hyunjin. The evening light spilled through the big studio windows, painting the room gold. Hyunjin sat cross-legged on the couch, sketchbook open in his hand. She hesitated at the doorway, fingers nervously playing with the hem of her shirt. He looked so peaceful, she almost didn't want to disturb him. With the way he looked up instantly, eyes warm. Hey Angel, you okay? She nodded, biting her lips. Just wanted to ask you something. Hyunjin closed his. For a second, he just blinked, like he wasn't sure he'd heard her right. Then a slow, tender smile spread across his face. You're too cute, you know. But before she could turn away, he gently caught her wrist, his thumb brushing her skin. Hey, he whispered, voice low and sweet. Don't hide. Her heart thumped wildly as she looked up at him. Can I have a. She whispered. Hyunjin's gaze softened, the kind of softness that carried a thousand. When he drew back, his eyes were still closed, breathing out. That was perfect. You have no idea how long I waited that. Yen smiled shyly. Then why didn't you ask? Bangchan. The kitchen smelled faintly of coffee and cinnamon, the soft hum of music filling the quiet evening. Yen leaned against the counter watching Chan move around. He noticed her gaze, flashing that lazy dimple smile. You've been staring for a while, love. What's on your mind? Yen quickly looked away. He chuckled. You're a terrible liar. She hesitated, bited her lips, then finally whispered, Can I have a. Chan froze for a second, then smirked, that teasing kind sparking in his eyes. Oh, you're asking so politely. What happened to my confidence? He stepped closer, voice dropping low. Not a chance you asked for it. Her breath caught when he leaned closer, close enough for her to feel his warmth. He pulled back just enough to see her flustered face and grinned. You have no idea how adorable you are when you ask like that. She pouted. Maybe, he said softly, brushing his thumb over her cheek, but only because you make it too easy. He kissed her forehead gently and whispered, Ian. The night was calm, rain pattering softly against the window, the glow of the bedside lamp warm and golden. Jeongin was sprawled across the bed. Yin sat on the floor, leaning against the side of the bed, watching him with a smile. You're going to drop that phone on your face, she warned, enjoying his relaxed state. She rolled her eyes but couldn't stop smiling. His hair dangled toward the floor as he kept scrolling, totally relaxed. He looked so effortless. He hummed without looking up. Can I ask for something? He tilted his head a bit, still upside down, curiosity sparking in his. Jeongin blinked, surprised, then a slow teasing grin spread across his inverted face. He set his phone aside, the playful spark turning into. When he finally sat up, both of them were blushing, laughter slipping between them like a secret. Jeongin gripped the back of his neck. She giggled, snuggling against his side. You don't need webs for that, just me. He smirked, dimples deepened. Careful, I might take that as a promise. Felix. The kitchen smelled like vanilla and sugar, sunlight spilling across the counter where Felix stood, sleeves rolled up, whisk in hand, humming softly as he mixed the cookies. We were supposed to bake it, not eat it all, she scolded playfully. He pouted, but how will I know if it's good without tasting it first? Maybe, he said, drawing out the word with that deep, raspy tone that always made her heart flutter. Yen leaned against the counter quietly, watching him move, calm. Felix, she said gently. He looked up right away, smile easy and warm. Yeah, love. She hesitated, fiddling with the edge of her sleeve. Can I ask? Her voice dropped shy and small. Can I have a? Felix froze for a beat, not because he didn't want to, but because of how she asked, so soft, so gentle. Of course you can, he said softly, setting the bowl aside. You never have to ask, though. She smiled nervously. Still, I wanted to. He chuckled quietly, step. When they pulled apart, Felix brushed a bit of flour from her cheek and whispered, You taste sweeter than the cookies. Yen giggled. That's because you haven't baked them. He grinned. Then I guess I'll already found my favorite treat. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos.